Welcome to the kiwimana Buzz.
Hello everyone, this is Gary here, and this is episode 53 of our Beekeeping podcast, and we are talking about inspection tips, horrible whodunits, and Kanuka honey. And so welcome to the kiwimana Buzz.
Hi, it's Gary and Margaret here. Are you going to say hi, Gary?
Oh, let's do that a bit again.
That's all right, we can just go. I'm Margaret, and that's Gary.
And I'm Gary.
We are beekeepers from the hills of the Waitakere Ranges in West Auckland, New Zealand. Our podcast is about beekeeping, gardening, and a bit of politics, and about, environmental issues which may affect our bees and the world and all those people connected with it and our activities. And we also have been known to go off in tangents about issues, so you never know what's going to happen next.
You never do. And the show notes for this one are kiwimana.co.nz/53. So, and thanks everyone for listening to our show. We are really grateful that you're here today listening to us.
And thanks for taking time out to, be a part of our show. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And let's, what's happening at Kiwimana? So we went to see the More Than Honey movie, which is a great movie. We went to the Oratia Film Society, was it?
Yeah, it was held at the Oratia's Settlers Hall, which is quite a good venue, and we had a bit of mulled wine, which was very warming because it was a bit of a cold night.
Yes, that was pretty nice, but I didn't actually have any because I was driving. I am the responsible one.
That's right, you were the dry driver.
So that was quite good, and we saw a few of our readers there and a few beginner beekeepers there, from your courses.
Yeah, it was really good to see people coming along. We did put it out there so people knew that it was coming up, and it was great to see people make an effort and come and support these little community groups. It's awesome. Thank you very much for that. Yeah,
it was a good movie too. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely, it was. I actually shed a few tears through it, so it's very emotional for me on that one.
Yes, indeed. We'll probably do have a review of that, and we've actually got the contact details of the director of the movie, so we may interview him in the future. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that'll be interesting because it was exceptional filming, and showed quite a quality of how the whole thing was put together, and I think that there's an underlying message there, and me and Gary have been trying to work out exactly what he was trying to put together. So we've both got our views about it, so be interesting to see what other people think.
Absolutely. And we also had a beekeepers hangout. Hey, that was quite cool. We had Patrick from the Solomon Islands.
That was really cool. We talked to him about what things he goes through, and that was a lot of fun. And he was, asking about what we do, and it was just really good to see different perspectives going on.
Absolutely. And we've got another one coming up on the 31st of August.
Indeed.
But if you look in the on the show notes for this one, or if you go to kiwimana.co.nz/live chat, and you will see the next one, the next Beekeepers Hangout. So if you want to join us, that'd be awesome, guys.
Yeah, join us. We did have a lot of fun, and there was quite a few more listeners this time, so that was really good, and a few more participants. So give it a try, guys. You'll enjoy it.
Absolutely, and we had a busy time in the workshop this weekend. I've been doing a lot of planing. That's good for the vibrations in your fingers, isn't it?
Indeed it is. It's just getting the wood prepped for building some macrocarpa boxes, eh?
Yep, that's it. And I sent you a email today. I don't know if you got that, about this fantastic planer I saw, but it was a lot of money.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen that. We'll have to talk to our financial supported network.
Indeed. And so what's been happening with you there, Margaret?
Well, lots been going on. Obviously, this is being recorded, and in about 3 days there will be the first day of spring, the official day. But I think possibly the bees weren't told about it because they are going crazy. We've had a few days of sunshine, so they've been so thrilled to get out there. But what we're finding is that they're going home very early and there's no activity later on in the afternoon, and we're expecting overnight some quite chilly times. But yep, in about 3 days we're expecting the first of spring, so it'll be interesting to see how this season pans out.
Yeah, and we had a call from a customer in the weekend day, and his bees have filled up all the boxes, so he's got no spare room. So
awesome.
They didn't get the memo about spring starting in a week.
That's right, and it just take the girls to keep us on our toes, that's for sure. So I've been working on our beginner kits because we have a lot of orders out there for our beginners to have bees, and we're just getting all the hardware put together and also putting them into the hives in the next 2 weeks so we can get the eggs, so we can do some splits, which is the closest to a natural system that we use to prevent swarming. So that method is available on our website if you want to try that out.
Absolutely. And you've been doing some work in the bee yard? Was it apiary?
Yeah, we have. We've got a guy came in today to do some lawn trimming because it's been so wet. The apiary is not really growing that well, but we have had someone in to do some, I think they used a weed eater or something to trim the grass so that it would just give us a good start, and then we'll get it regularly mowed, so that'll be helpful for me. And also I've been out doing our new stock. I've been picking up new stock and customers' deliveries and working on those orders, so we've got some there ready for people to pick up, and we had people picking up stock over the weekend. So get your orders in, guys, because everything's coming in now and you don't want to miss out.
Absolutely you don't. So let's move into blog recap. That's quite short, that one.
Yeah, it was. Hey, before we go further, I just want to say that, obviously because it's going to be spring in a few days, there are things that should be in place already for our Kiwi beekeepers. You'll be looking at having your treatments finished now so that when you start preparing for your splits, your treatments are all completed, and when you're doing your splits, you'll be able to have another break in the Varroa cycle, so that'll be handy. And also just checking empty frames, perhaps adding some clean frames and getting rid of some of the older ones that you'll be looking at for the season. Get some fresh comb in there.
Yeah.
Adding on extra boxes, but just make sure that you check all the brood, keep everything together, move some honey down into where the brood is, not too much, and so that you give them a bit of room to start laying. So if you've got some comb, they can start drawing on that. What do you think, Gary? That's a good idea at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if sometimes you find over winter they actually move to the top box and they leave the bottom box empty. So just check that's what the situation is and try and move the frames around so they've got some more space.
Yeah, it's kind of a tidy up after winter because they would have been feeding on their honey stores, so you may find that there's some empty frames there that you could use for them to put for the queen to start laying in as well. So get rid of anything that's really empty and put some clean stuff in, maybe condense it down just to help keep the queen in one place. You could add a queen excluder if you want to, but make sure you identify where your queen is. And one last hint, at this time of the year it is still cold, so don't open the hive when there's southerly winds or any cold wind, obviously no rain. Just remember that the temperature that bees will come out is usually around 14 degrees, so just be careful of that and be aware before you open up the hive, because you don't want to interrupt their set temperature. So that's my guide for the time, and building your gear, making sure you've got, some clean gear, and get rid of any bugs like wax moth or anything that might be in your gear that you're putting onto the hives. So make sure that's all nice and clean as well.
Absolutely. And start making frames, or you should have been making those over winter, and get ready, because you've got to try to anticipate what the bees are going to do. And if you're ahead of it, then you're more likely to prevent swarming. So you really want to try and keep an eye on what your queen is doing. One of our beginners said that they have got drone comb in there, so that's another concern for Varroa. So you want a few drones, but you need to also manage that. So, having some sort of drone management system, like a drone management frame, is always helpful. Yep, absolutely. Let's move on to blog recap. Okay, first one was Urban Beekeeping. This is the most popular blog post last month. Urban beekeeping threatened in Auckland. You knew what were you going to say about that?
Well, I think one of the things is that the update on that is just for everyone to be aware that this is going to take a couple of years for all this to be processed, because it's part of the major...
2 years?
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
Why can't they just say the bees are okay and let us move on?
Yeah, I reckon. Say no, we're going to disallow it. There's no way that I feel that bees need to be managed under the Resource Management Act, and I don't think it needs to be authorised as a permitted activity, because it's already under the it's already managed under the bylaws. So I just think it's going to add more restriction and perhaps more cost to beekeepers, and I think it really needs to be removed. But the hearing panel have got until 2016 to go through all the submissions, and of course it's the most important one is ours about the bees, and we want it removed, so that shouldn't take them too long.
No, I agree.
That's our aim anyway, and
we'll keep you informed when we're hearing something.
Yeah, I think the reality is that once there starts to be a lot of bureaucracy in keeping bees while the bees are under such threat, that I think that it may prevent people from taking up beekeeping, and we need bees everywhere. Yep, everywhere.
And the Auckland Council's bylaws have actually been released now, the proposed bylaws. So if you want to have a look at those, you can check those out on the Auckland Council's website.
Oh, okay.
And maybe we'll talk about that next month. It's a bit after we've read them all, but they look pretty common sense to me, so it looks good.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think a couple of emails I got was saying to me that we shouldn't worry about it because it's a permitted activity. But the first part of it sounds really good. Yeah, let's make beekeeping a permitted activity. But the second part of it is it's going to be under the Resource Management Act, and anything under that act seems to be attracting a lot of cost to the person who's the applicant. So I don't think it should be in there in the first instance. And the second part of the submission is about zoning. So they're going to start classifying zoning as to where you can keep bees, and I think, I don't think it's appropriate at this time that we need that because of the threat to bees. So having a zoning criteria in there as well is another part of it that I don't support, because I think we should be able to keep bees everywhere.
Indeed. Let's move on. And I agree. I think it should be just kept the way it is.
Okay, what else have we been up to? We've been doing our break, which ended up being quite a challenging time. We talked about that. That was our second most popular blog, and a lot of apiary maintenance went on at that time too. So that's all coming along, and we're really pleased. And that sort of ties into all our work to get new stock and getting all our apiary gear up to scratch.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next popular one was neonicotinoids, a disaster in the making. That's Dr. Hank Tenicus. That's been very popular, hasn't it? And it's got some good information in that podcast.
Yes, I recommend anybody who deals with land management, farmers, landscapers, gardeners, anybody who deals with roadworks and land management should read this, because this is something that is very, very important to understand what is going on. And Dr. Hank Tenicus is a toxicologist who's from the Netherlands, and he's got a lot of stuff in there that he has put into his book. So what's the name of his book?
It's a disaster in the making.
Okay, cool.
So you can check that out on kiwimana.co.nz/52. That's our last podcast.
Awesome.
And shall we move into the news?
Okay.
This is the Kiwimana News. First up, urban beehives are the new buzz. And this is an article from Stuff magazine, or the Stuff website. It's a New Zealand news website. And this is about the rise of urban beekeeping in New Zealand. And it's great to see one of our customers, Julian, was mentioned. And so our bees are famous.
Yay! Yay! Yes, born and bred here at Kiwimana HQ, and they're in the article, so it's all exciting, and he said that they're doing well. I just talked to him last week, so that's all good.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, really pleased to hear, because he's beginner and, still learning the way things are.
That's right, and apparently the registered beekeepers last year rose by 12%, so that's cool, eh?
Yeah, that's what we want to hear. We want to hear that it's on the increase, and hear that, Auckland Council.
Yep, exactly. And there's a nice photo there of Carol Downer with her bees. Which
awesome,
we know.
Yeah. She's organic.
Indeed.
So that's all good.
And the next story is UK rip-off riles honey firms. And Britain's The Grocer magazine claims lack of clarity over what constitutes real Manuka honey is allowing dodgy dealers to sell bogus honey. And I think that's probably true. I think because there's a whole lot of different standards to measure what's the best Manuka honey, and there's apparently a lot of cowboys selling stuff over there that's not actually, doesn't have any active ingredient in it. So I would familiarize yourself.
Familiarize?
Is the word. With yourself, with the different standards, and the standards I know about are the UMF factor, and there's also an active factor, isn't they? But there was talk a couple of months back that they were trying to standardise the labelling, which makes sense to me.
UMF is unique Manuka factor, just shows you how healthy it is. And the other thing is that why would people do this? Well, because they want to have they want to make money, and they don't care how they do it. And I think that this is shame on those companies that sell this product without actually having the real deal there, and just taking it on board without actually having it verified. And I think that's a real shame on them, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So look out for the proper labelling, guys, and you won't get ripped off.
That's it. So don't get ripped off.
Exactly.
Okay, what's the next one? 8 steps.
8 beehive inspection tips.
Ah, okay.
And this is a great article by the website's called Better Hens and Gardens, I should say, about what to look for doing a hive inspection, and we'll discuss the 8 tips.
Yeah, I think it's a really good article. It gives you some, like everyone has their own views about how to do, your inspections, and then there's views about, a full inspection compared to a quick inspection compared to a treatment inspection. So there's, if you think about it, there's quite a few different variances to an inspection as such. So you might be doing it in terms of, okay, how much honey's on the hive? You might be doing one that you need to do your disease check, or you could be doing an inspection that is dealing with being queen right. So this is a basic hive inspection tips. So yeah, let's go through it.
Okay, first one in the article was watch the front door. And this is important to regularly inspect your colony and make sure that there's comings and goings and the hives are bringing back pollen and all sorts of things of that, and make sure there's not being robbing going on, I guess.
Yeah, because we've had a few beginners who have said that their hives, they were really busy, and then next thing you know, their hive is dead because it was being robbed out. So, watching that front door can show you the bees they act a bit agitated when they're getting robbed out. So, it is really interesting to watch the front door and see how the bees are behaving, because you'll learn a lot from that, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and we've actually got a chair we have set up in the apiary to sit down and watch the front doors, haven't we?
Yeah, I like to do that after I've done all my work.
Or another tip that Margaret uses is she sits on the deck with binoculars and watches them.
Yeah, that's when it's really hot and there's no shade, because the apiary gets really hot.
Absolutely. And the next tip from the article is have a plan. So that means, before you go in, decide what you're trying to do. You're trying to establish disease. You're trying to split the hive. Are you looking for, everything really. So just have an idea what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I think it's good to identify the purpose of your inspection, because, that gives you a more focused approach, because, you don't want to have the hive open too long.
Yeah, especially in this cold weather at the moment. And the next one is something we often see at bee clubs. Choose when and where to stand. And a lot of people stand right in the front. Yeah. And they get covered in bees, don't they?
It's true. And, I've been there myself. I remember when we first started, we were just standing there and then began to realise that you really are interfering with the flight path. So, stand to the side. But it's hard when you're trying to learn. If you're in charge of your hive and doing your beekeeping, then that's easy. You just stand to the side and work from the side, not in front of the bee's flight path, and you won't get covered in bees. But some people want to get covered in bees.
It's true. There was a recent Chinese person that went for a world record, and he had it was thousands of bees all over him.
Oh, wow.
He's keener than I am.
Yeah, but, I think that's quite awesome, because most of them are just resting, and then they'll just take off again. So
that's right. And the next step is listen, watch, and smell. And I think you can work a lot out from the smell of a hive, eh? And they're talking here about not using as much smoke as you think you need, because the smoke actually guards your smell, or the alarm pheromone smell, I should say.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually knock them out like in the bee movie, does it?
That's it. I think that the listen is because, the bees are busy keeping warm, so there's their vibration going on and they're happy and everything like that. And you can sometimes tell by the change in the buzz that they've had enough of you being in the hive, so the buzz can get quite loud. Sometimes when they're swarming, they reckon there's a different sound for that. I haven't actually picked that one up, but that's an interesting one. And the watching side of things is also about just seeing if they're behaving normally and what they're up to. And you can learn a lot from certain hives. Some hives have got guard bees that are really
aggressive.
Yeah, they will come straight at you. They might just fly straight out of the hive, things like that. Sometimes they do that because there's something else going on in the hive. And the smell side of things can also indicate there's enough honey. It also can indicate disease. So there's lots of different things going on. So you'll learn that as you go along.
And is that wonderful smell of the honey and the bees?
Yeah. Last season, that was just the most amazing smell. Because the apiary does get so hot where we are, you could just smell the honey. No wonder everybody wanted it.
Yeah, because I just watched a video with Sam Comfort from Anarchy Apiaries, and he said the reason why beekeepers get into beekeeping is because they're addicted to that smell.
Oh, yeah.
That's very true, isn't it?
Indeed.
And the next important tip is preserve the queen. So this is, you've got to make sure she's okay. You don't accidentally roll her, between two frames and crush her or damage her.
Oh, it's like keeping her safe. Is that what?
That's what he's saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sounds interesting. Preserve the queen.
Preserve the queen. And the next one is examine the frames. This is you checking the frames for brood, checking the frames for stores, I guess.
Yeah, pollens and nectars, and seeing how far they are in the process of capping.
Yep, and the next step is verify brood, hive, and health. So that's kind of moves on from examining the frames. You want to make sure that you can actually see varroa damage, can't you? And you can also see if there's any foul brood or any other diseases that you may have in your local area.
Yeah, and you can check whether the bees are alive or dead. Sometimes when the broods, the cluster moves around, some of the girls die in the cells. But
they call it chilled brood, don't they?
Chilled brood, yeah. So, examining the frames is one thing, seeing, if you've got enough honey, if you want to extract or anything like that. So, yeah, and verifying brood is about seeing whether you've got lots of workers or lots of drones, because those things indicate other things. So if there's lots of drone brood and nothing else, then I think you might have a laying worker. So you've got to keep an eye on that.
Absolutely. And the last tip, which is a great tip, which is keep records. So you've got to keep records of seeing how many frames of brood you've got, how the queen's going, and then you can compare it when you check the hive again next month.
Yeah.
And see if there's any difference or if it's got worse or...
Yeah.
So I think it's very important, isn't it?
This is something that I would encourage any beginner beekeeper to do, to have records of their hive so they can do the changes and anticipate where things are going. Keeping records also is about when you're doing your mite inspections, either natural mite falls, that kind of thing. So, yeah, keeping records is very helpful. And you can also use it to when you're doing swarms and splits, so you can connect the parent hive to the new hive and keep all those records connected.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Oh, sorry. I knocked Margaret's mic. Sorry about that.
I know. He's just... keep calm and carry on.
And the next one is the Horrible Whodunit. This is terrible news from South Carolina. Beekeeper Stephen Mantell has had several colonies destroyed by vandals. Oh. And he came home and they're all like fallen over and been kicked over, and he actually found footprints on them as well, didn't he? He recently got a letter from the Homeowners Association in his area to remove the bees. And
were they connected?
Was that a related thing or not? We can only surmise. Anyway, that's very sad news, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think if people have got issues, they should be addressing it with each other and trying to find some resolve that way. It's a bit like this whole Auckland Council submission thing. It was driven from something totally different about land and became, almost this ridiculous submission to stop urban beekeepers. But, to go to that extent, I think, is just disgusting.
Yes, I agree. And it's moving on to our next sad story, is a swarm of bees. This is the headline. This isn't my words. Swarm of bees attack car. But how a dad protected his family has upset people. And this is from an emergency service worker, which he should know better, from Oxford, returned to his car after shopping in a mall to discover a bee swarm on his car. Did he call the local beekeeper to remove them? No, he didn't. What did he do?
According to this article, he drove his car through a car wash. Now,
yes.
This has been an article that's been viewed by so many people. And to me, if he's an emergency worker, for him to do this, I think that maybe there's some training that needs to be conducted.
Absolutely. And I think he, before he drove through a car wash, he drove it down the motorway really fast, trying to get the bees to fly off his car. I am actually a bit, confused about this behaviour. I'm not quite sure. I think it's quite sad, and I think
there's a bit of a panic maybe going on. He was just trying to get it sorted out as quick as possible. But read the article, guys. You enjoy it, and draw your own conclusions.
And leave a comment. We've had lots of comments, and I've actually put the Facebook article there on there, so you can actually just find it really quickly.
Awesome.
And there's been a few feisty words said there.
Absolutely.
And I think a few of them are saying that it's actually, we shouldn't be condemning people, we should be educating them, and I kind of agree with that. We should be educating them.
I absolutely agree with that, and that's part of this whole thing that Hank Tenekas talks about, is that we need to educate and make people understand that the things that they do are harming nature and the natural balance of things. Yeah,
exactly. So, there's some great comments here, guys, and thanks to everyone that made a comment. And, I agree with all of them, really.
Indeed. And, it's really good to get this kind of feedback because, we need to create this awareness by having these conversations, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And, absolutely. We need to tell people that swarms aren't going to destroy the world and they don't attack people. They probably just were resting there for a while until they could find a better place. And unfortunately, they didn't survive that incident, so that's not very good.
No, that's not good. Okay, let's
move on.
As you say, Gary. Moving right along. Humming over medicinal uses of honey. Medicinal. A research company in Wellington is looking at using Kānuka honey for the treatment of common skin conditions. Kānuka, for everyone overseas, is another type of honey derived from tea trees. And tea trees also you can get Manuka honey from it. Yeah, it's leptospermum or something is the name.
Is it the Latin name?
I think so. And
this is another form of honey from a tea tree, which is another one.
It's very in New Zealand we have the Kānuka, which grows a lot taller than the Manuka tree. They are still researching, all the properties of Kānuka as opposed to what they're already doing with Manuka. So I believe that Kānuka is probably a good quality honey and really, really good for that kind of stuff in medicine as well as the Manuka. So, I think that they will find that it does a lot of the same things.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think we had this article a while back, and they were looking for volunteers, and now they're actually doing the study. So this will be interesting to see because apparently it's for treatment of acne rosacea, is it? And cold sores. So we'll see how they get on with that. And if Kānuka honey becomes popular, that'll be great for us because they are most of our...
rosacea.
Rosacea. What's rosacea?
I think it's reddening of the skin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's an interesting concept, and because we actually have a lot of Kānuka trees on our property.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we can sell it for $1 million a jar, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it, Dale?
That'll be awesome. Okay, and this is an interesting article that you've put on here.
It is.
Can I read this?
Sure.
Sure. Okay, nurse reveals the top 5 regrets people make on their deathbed. And this was a very popular one this month, and talks about it's always good to remember life is short and that we must try and live life with no regrets. That would be quite difficult, eh? Because sometimes we make mistakes or we do something and we think, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or maybe I could have done that differently. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, I think you've got to make the best choice at the time, and this is just saying that these are the things that people regret when they're on their deathbed. And this is written by she's an actual nurse called Bronnie Ware. And she works in palliative care.
Okay.
I think it's where people have gone home to die. So
there's
interesting.
Yeah, there's a little blurb on the side where it says the top 5 regrets of the dying, a life transformed by the dearly departing. So it's people on their deathbed.
She's actually written a book about it too. So there's actually a link there to the book. So if you,
that's very interesting, and
I might buy that book. I think it might be quite good.
Yeah. So shall we go over those top 5?
Let's go to the top 5 because it's been very popular.
Okay.
Our first one: I'd wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that we do. We're often sort of taught to conform, because we all want to be accepted by everyone, and sometimes the closest to us expect us to live in a way that they think we should be living. So we try to conform, and then later on that can be, we might regret that. So I think that's a fair one.
I think that's true.
Yeah. Yep. And I say break free and be who you want to be.
Okay. I will eat all the chocolate I can get. And the next one is, I wish I didn't work so hard.
That's interesting.
I think...
Is that a male thing? Or
yeah, I think predominantly she was saying that males say that. And I think because they're working in jobs where they're away from home, and they're away, they're commuting to work or whatever, and they never see their family, and a lot of people regret not seeing their children grow up.
Oh, okay. And which country is this lady or this person from? Who's the lady who wrote? Is it a lady?
It's Bronnie Ware.
Oh, okay,
I think it's America, but you'd have to check out her website and find out.
It's interesting. I wonder if it changes if you're in different countries.
I think it would, because I know when I was in Italy, the people used to come home every day for lunch for 2 hours for a siesta and have lunch. So they're like they have breakfast together, then they go to work, then they come home for lunch, and then they go back to work, and then they have dinner.
And I think that in some ways that's quite a good way, because you sort of, I think that's quite cool.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
So would they say, I wish I had more siestas or something?
I think people just regret that they don't have to spend the time with their families. So I think everyone should work from home.
Yeah. So the number 3 is, I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings.
Exactly. People suppress their feelings apparently. And the result I think that they settle for a mediocre existence.
Yeah, and the other thing with not expressing yourself, I'm very good at expressing myself. It might be my European upbringing from my family, who are Dutch. I don't have a problem with expressing my feelings, but some people get pissed off when you.
They do.
When you express yourself, because they think you're being rude or something. But, I think sometimes it's really important. I think I'd measure that one with, understanding how to put that across to other people, So express yourself, but be polite and respectful, I suppose.
Yeah, you've got to be respectful, I guess, but sometimes people don't get that.
Sometimes when you really want to express yourself, you're not thinking about being polite, I guess.
It's very true.
And number 4 is, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. That's interesting because, people are so busy, I guess, living their lives and trying to earn money, and, it does drag you away from some of those things that are really important to you.
Absolutely. Keeping bees. It drags you away from friends, doesn't it? That's why we need. That's why all our friends have got bees.
Not
all of them. No.
I think we do find that because over summer everyone else is like doing their summer stuff, we're busy at home working in the apiary or making stock, and looking after our customers, that we try to encourage our families to come and visit us, because we can't get out as much as we used to, 6 years ago or so.
Absolutely, and we always give people bee suits, but they never want to get involved, do they?
Yeah, and that's a whole other conversation. And here's the last one, and this is one I think everyone should really have. It's the top 5 most important things to do, I think, is to be happy. To understand, what makes you happy and to work towards that, and to understand that happiness is something that you can breed inside yourself. And if you're true to yourself and you're, cultivating yourself and you're being true to who you are, I think you will be happy. And it's really sad to think that people are dying wishing they weren't happy enough or whatever. So that's really sad.
And I reckon that the definition of happy is actually working towards what you want to do in life every day. So, and I guess the opposite of that is working where you don't want to work.
I created my own definition of happy, and it is that I'm a healthy achiever who plans, is persistent, with a youthful attitude. So that's my definition of happy.
Oh, very good.
Well, that's because I'm actually have ingrained in me my life coaching.
Yes, indeed you do.
Yes, that's something I've always enjoyed doing. And when I was in England, I studied through the Coaching Academy, and have my diploma in personal coaching advanced, if you please.
If you please.
Yes.
And you even went to talk to Tony Robbins, didn't you?
That's right, Anthony Robbins.
Oh, Anthony Robbins.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You get it right. Oh, I'm sorry about the accent.
Oh, no, that's coming up.
Oh, is that coming up?
Don't worry.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about that. Let's move along. That's for, who's that for?
Yeah. Well, we just, we heard this week that one of our friends in England has passed away recently. So this is these have been quite interesting for us, or quite provoking, I would say. Oh,
okay, the top 5 regrets in terms of loss. So you almost, are you saying that perhaps with loss and grief, that these regrets come to the fore?
I think so. I think when you've recently lost someone, you do tend to think about these things, don't you? I think it makes us, because you can't go back and say that you should have done better. I think what you need to do is, as I say, be true to yourself and understand where you're at, and that will help you cope with that loss, because you've done it for whatever reason. You've done whatever you've done because of what you've needed to do. And I think that the friends, that we lose along the way would understand it. Does that make sense? Not really.
Oh, not really. Well, I think it does. I think they love you. Yeah. And you don't have to be together all the time.
No.
But I think that missing someone is a different thing.
Oh, yes, it is. Well, let's move on before I start crying. So let's move on to...
Well, all we need to say is that, we feel that loss.
We do. Let's move on to questions from you guys. Have you had any questions?
Yes, I've had a few this last few weeks. I've had questions from the South Island about the bees, because down in the South Island of New Zealand, it's a lot colder than up here in the North Island, and the behaviours of the bees have been a bit peculiar, as it were. So I got an email about how to deal with that. Some of the things I've suggested is moving the hive up from the ground so that they aren't near that chill factor, and that's a good way, and to reduce the hive down more so that the cluster can keep warmer, as it were, because the cluster is getting smaller, so therefore they need to have less air around them in that sort of circumstance. And also understanding that when they get that cold, the queen isn't going to be laying for a short period, so the hive will quieten down. So just that was the sort of question that we got. And what else was there? There was about locating or siting a hive, and my advice always is say, okay, pick the best area in winter, and if that gets sun and everything like that, then that would be a good place to put your beehive, in my view.
Yep, I agree.
But you're also looking at other things like wind, water, that's right, all those kind of things. So every site has its own implications or considerations. So
remember that time we went to visit a customer, and the place they had the hive, they told us that it flooded every winter? That was amusing.
Yes, I think that one of our beginners has got an area where they do have a bit of tidal. So we suggested that perhaps they just build the hive into a dinghy.
Yeah, or a canoe.
Yeah, with a few floaters on the side just to keep it level.
Indeed.
So, but anyway, we get those kind of questions, and we've been asked about the beginner course, which we're working on at the moment. We've found a new location, so we're putting some things out for that in the next few weeks.
Absolutely. And if you've got any questions, email question@kiwimana.co.nz and we will try and answer it. But we'll move on to blog posts coming soon. And you've already touched on the blog post about the course coming up. What other blog posts have we got coming soon?
That's a really good question, and I think that we should just surprise our audience with them when we put them together. I know that we...
You mean we haven't thought of them yet?
Well, we have. I'm putting together one about what's blooming at Kiwimana HQ, which I put out, periodically, because there are some flowers and blooms and buds coming on the trees. So that will be one that will come up.
Absolutely, and I saw a lot of bees buzzing on the gorse last weekend.
Yeah, they really are getting stuck in, that's for sure. So they're ready. They're ready, and in 3 days, it's spring. Indeed. 2014, if you please.
And I planted my borage seeds, and they've come up.
Yes, Gary's just like an expectant father.
Yes, I've planted some borage, and I will see how it goes. I should do some photos, the day 1, day 2.
Too late.
Well, they're only like little buds at the moment.
Yeah, they'll grow really quickly, because borage does grow quickly once it's on its way. It's going to be prolific.
And when I was looking the other day, the bees kept landing on the ground, sucking up all the water from my borage plants. So I had to tell them to leave it. Anyway, let's move on to feedback from you. Okay, feedback from you guys.
Oh, I just love these. And, thanks so much to everyone who sends us, emails and feedback. It's just awesome because, without you guys, it just wouldn't be worth it.
Absolutely. Your feedback helps us keeps us going because we sitting out here in the bottom of the South Pacific all alone.
Up here on the hill at kiwimana HQ with the rain falling. We've had a lot of rain, but happy for it because then I can have longer showers because we're on tank water. So that's awesome. Anyway, back to business. Tangent.
First one, Andreas from Switzerland. Thank you, Andreas, for your kind words.
Absolutely.
Thank us for all the work we put into our podcasts.
Do you want to read it?
You're most welcome. I am. I'm reading it.
Okay, go.
The last few weeks.
Read it. Read it.
Okay, the last few weeks, I have been listening to your podcast on the way home from work. I really enjoy the great diversity you cover in your podcasts. Oh, that's good. And he's got 5 hives in Switzerland right next to his house. And he's a first-year beekeeper. And he's saying it's a great hobby, and I'm very hungry to learn as much as possible to keep them alive. Oh, that's awesome. And he just said, keep up the great work. And there are a lot of people that need to learn more about the honeybees. I agree.
Yeah, I agree, Andreas. And, awesome, that you've taken up beekeeping as a hobby and just enjoy. That's the best thing, and try to breed from your strong genetics when you're doing your splits, and share your passion. Ask your friends to come over and have a look. Get a couple of extra suits and get them to be a part of your exciting adventure. So
absolutely. Yeah,
Gary, what was it?
I was just going to say that in that More Than Honey video, there was the guy there was in Switzerland, wasn't he? The guy that living in the mountains.
Yeah, that was quite a moving part to the whole movie as well.
Don't spoil the movie.
No, I'm just saying that it was quite moving, and I did shed a tear when I watched that movie. Yeah. But anyway, we're talking about Andreas, and thank you so much for taking time to send us your review. So we're really pleased to get it, and all the best with your beekeeping adventures.
Absolutely. And it's great that we're down here in New Zealand and someone in Switzerland's listening to us. Isn't that fantastic?
It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Thanks, Andreas.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And the next one is from NAD133 from the United States of America.
Yes, this is very interesting, and I will try to speak as clearly as I can. I will read this one.
You need to do it in your poshest accent.
Oh, okay. Love and Hate Relationship by NAD133. 5 stars, thank you very much. And he or she is from the United States of America. Now, Nad writes, I really love you guys. Hang on, I have to go. I can't keep it up. I really love that you guys keep on putting out new podcasts, and especially the guests that you have on the show. But I just really don't like your accents. I'm sorry to be so blunt, because I know that we don't choose where we are born. But I love everything else. Please get more guests on your show.
Well,
okay.
I did choose where I was born.
I never actually thought we had accents. Did you?
No, it's everyone in America. Especially NAD133. No,
it's interesting because I don't think we have an accent.
Well, compared to the people that we hang around with all day, we don't.
Well, yeah, that's right.
But anyway, it's interesting. Well, thanks for the feedback anyway. But we won't be changing our accent.
We are really pleased to hear your feedback and that you enjoy the guests that we bring on. And Gary does a lot of work to bring lots of varying types of guests to the show. So thank you for that, NAD133. And, it makes it interesting for us too because we learn a lot from our guests and, they take time out to be here for us. So it's a real team effort when we can get together and do these podcasts and the Google Hangouts. It's really awesome.
Absolutely. And we've got got a few coming up soon, one from Japan and
definitely.
A couple from America. So...
yeah.
Look out there. We'll have some interviews for you there, Mr. Nad.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is that we are getting quite a cross-culture, amount of people. We get people from, all over.
Switzerland?
Yeah, and from America and everything. So, it's true. We share as much as we can with you, and we're really glad to hear that it is getting through, no matter who or where your accent comes from. Thank you.
We love everyone, no matter what their accent's like.
He's saying he loves us. Anyway.
I know. I'm just kidding.
We're
just kidding, Ned. Thanks for your review, and we appreciate it.
5 stars. Awesome.
That's it. So
let's move on to iTunes review.
If you want to leave a review, just go to kiwimana.co.nz/iTunes, or you can actually do it in the application on your iPad now or iPhone as well. And let's move on. Our contact details, our website address is kiwimana.co.nz. And that's Kiwi, KIWIMANA, for you people that aren't New Zealanders. And you can also email us on info@kiwimana.co.nz. And we also have a great newsletter. That's at kiwimana.co.nz/sign-up. And that's been getting a lot of new sign-ups, eh? It's been awesome.
Yeah, we're enjoying an increase in our audience, and it's really, I think that some of the things that we have brought to people's awareness has really made a big difference, and we're really grateful for all the, particularly when we did the Auckland Council Unitary Plan submission, we had a huge amount of response for that, and people contacting all the other networks. So that is really important, and a lot of those people have joined our newsletter, which comes out every week and always full of interesting stuff, and also about our products that we're bringing out or that are up for sale, or if there's any specials. So join up. And we've also had, through this newsletter, we've had orders from overseas. So that's really exciting. Hey.
Yep, absolutely. We've been selling some vaporizers to England and to America. So awesome. Thank you, people. Thank you, everyone there that's purchased from us. We really appreciate it. It helps keep the lights on.
Yeah, and it helps us with our beekeeping work and our apiary management, so it's all good. Thanks so much. Awesome.
Yep, and thank you for listening again. It's been awesome to have you guys with us, and we will see you next month. Have you got anything else to bring up, Margaret?
Yeah, just, it's spring, guys, and it's time to spring into action and get your hives and your girls ready, because it's going to be a real hot one this year.
Yep, I would recommend everyone has at least a couple of spare boxes waiting in the wings, because it is going to be a long summer.
It feels that way. Yep.
So get out there and look after those bees.
Thanks, everyone, and we hope to see you next time.
Yep. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.